Hi, my name is Cleve Gaddis, and welcome to another edition of Workman Wisdom. This week's edition is on prospecting. And what I should do is make it really short and sweet and just say, hey, prospect because I told you so. Because you're not going to be successful in business if you don't. But the truth is, there's a much deeper reason to prospect. You need to prospect because it's good for your clients. You say, what in the world does he mean by that? Well, do you provide a level of service that's different than most people in your marketplace? Do you do things better for your clients than other people do? Or are you just one of those sort of interlopers who just wants to stick their hand in the transaction and get 3%? My guess is if you're watching this video, you probably give more. You probably do more. You probably provide a much higher level of service. And if that's the case, then I want you to think about this. If you're not spending time actively prospecting, then you're not doing things that are good for your clients or your potential clients or your prospects. Because if you don't find them and you don't convince them that they need to work with you, then they're going to have to suffer through whatever type of service the average agent out there gives them. And I don't think you want that. So you need to prospect, I think, because it's good for your clients. It's good for the people who work for you. And the opposite is true. When you're not prospecting, it's actually bad for your market. I don't know if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, or you're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, wherever you are. The more prospecting you do, the higher the level of service is going to be in that area. So ultimately, if you don't prospect, it's bad for your market. Now, I know you're looking at it going, well, I only sell a few houses a year or a couple hundred houses a year. It really doesn't make a difference in my market, but it does. If 10 people in your market area get to work with somebody who gives them better service, you're changing your entire market area. I know it sounds like, gosh, Cleve's putting a lot of pressure on me. Well, don't prospect because it's good for you. Don't prospect because you make more money. Prospect because you provide a service that other people deserve. And you feel strongly enough about it that you're going to continue to deliver that message and make those phone calls and send out those postcards and host those open houses and work your top 50 program. You're going to keep doing it no matter what, because you know that if you find somebody that needs to buy or sell a house, that they're going to be better served working with you. So don't forget, you can really change your market area. And when you're prospecting, if your messaging is right, you're going to be stimulating the local real estate market. Well, what do you mean? Well, you might find somebody that doesn't know that they can sell their home and move on to their dream home or their move-up home or whatever it is, and you're going to help them understand that they can. And when you do that, this home sells, and somebody gets to buy that home, and this person buys another home, and this person buys another home. So you create a whole whirlwind of activity based on that one prospect. So prospect because it's good for your market. Now let's talk a little bit about what you need to be good at if you're going to be good at prospecting. The main thing you need to remember is you need to have systems. And you need to have systems for everything. You need to have scripts. You need to have a FSBO script, an expired script, a top 50 script, an apology script. You need to have the LP Mama script. You need to have all of the scripts so that you don't have to think about what you're saying to your prospect. You don't have to think about sort of what's next. You can think about what your prospect says. Wouldn't it be nice to have a conversation with somebody on the phone and to truly be able to pay attention to what they were saying? Well, a script is what allows you to do that because you already know what's coming next. You can focus wholly on what the prospect is saying. And once you really start to pay attention to a prospect, you'd be surprised how much easier it is to convert them into one of your clients. Now, you also need to use what's called My Perfect Week. What is that? Well, that's a Workman Success Systems tool that we use to help people plan out their perfect week. There really is no such thing as a perfect week, but ideally, you plan your week and you put your biggest rocks in first, meaning you put your most important things in first. And those would be your time for prospecting, your time for working with buyers, your time for working with sellers. So the key is to set up a schedule where you don't let anything interfere with your prospecting time. A new agent should prospect probably 1 to 3 hours a day. And even the more experienced agent should still prospect a minimum of 1 hour a day. Now, when you're prospecting, you're going to hear no. You're going to hear objections. We don't need to talk to you to sell our house because we've got a friend who can do it. We don't need to talk to you because we've got somebody that'll do it cheaper. We've already got a buyer's agent. I'm planning to buy it by myself. I'm going to go directly to the builder. Whatever it might be, you're going to hear tons of objections. And you need to remember, when you hear an objection, you need to have the right process for overcoming that objection. What I like to do is first confirm the objection. Then I like to test the objection, meaning I like to give them an opportunity to change their objection. And then once I know that's the true objection, then I'm going to try to overcome that objection. We have all of this stuff for you in Workman Success Systems. If you're not a client, you might want to look into it and see if it's something that would help you. In closing, I just want to remind you, you need to prospect because it's good for your clients. If you're watching this video, again, my guess is that you try to deliver a different level of service, a higher level of service than people in your market provide. And if you provide something that's good for somebody, you ought to stand on the rooftops and shout it out to the world. Thanks for joining us for another week's edition of Workman Wisdom.